We have people. We have people for this. All right, guys. The weekend started with Mark Cuban restating that Russell Westbrook is not a superstar. Cuban says his definition of superstar solely rests on how many games a player's team wins and how deep that player can single-handedly, mind you, take his team into the playoffs. It's not about the numbers that player puts up along the way, Cuban says. Look, at this point, Mark is clearly just being stubborn. There's no arguing over whether Russell Westbrook is a superstar. But while he didn't use the same language, the person who most closely echoed Cuban's overall sentiments as this weekend unfolded was actually Russell Westbrook. Last night, when asked about the possibility of winning MVP, Russ said, quote, "I don't care, honestly. A championship is always the most important thing to me." So like Cuban, Russ is saying he's valuing wins over stats. And I don't think there's any basketball fan that's going to be disappointed in that, I mean, me included. But I do hate this sports radio style title or bust sentiment that has infected the NBA in recent years. I am still going to insist winning 73 games in one season is a thing, a big thing, even though Golden State didn't end up winning the title. Or let's look at the team that beat the Warriors over the weekend. There were a lot of calls this past couple of years for the Grizzlies to blow up their team and start over, because despite one of the league's longest playoff streaks, they clearly weren't in a position to win the title. Guess what? Still not in a position to win the title down in Memphis, and they're still doing impressive stuff that's energized both their teams and the fans. Well, the same goes for Russ and the Thunder. I'm sorry, but Oklahoma City, not likely to win the championship this year. But take a look at what Russ still did last night against the Celtics. He tied up the game with first the slap of this rebound, and then he finishes when he gets the ball back down the court. He hit the game winner lefty, splitting 4 defenders. Then he handles the jump ball perfectly to help seal things. That's, superstar stuff, and it's meaningful stuff. Even if Russ and Mark Cuban have their focus on the end of the season, I gotta tell you guys, I don't. What about you? Do you guys feel championship, that's it, that's all that matters? Have you seen that rise in the league over the recent years?
I have seen that, and the discussion is just like KD going to Golden State. He's going because he want to secure a championship, and that's his best chance. But everybody, heckled him for it and gave him hell. But at the same time, you look at Russ and what he's doing out there, I don't think it's championship or bust. I think he is a superstar. Me and Mark can agree to disagree. And he's performing at an unbelievable pace. And right now, he's top 2 for MVP race right now.
So Cuban said 50 wins. They're on pace for 51.
Right.
So he's doing fine so far.
Which is a little better than the Mavericks.
They're just a little bit. They're a total disaster when he's on the bench, and they're really good when he's in the game. He's a superstar. And this whole title or bust thing, just stop. Single-handedly, who single-handedly ever did anything in the NBA? Dirk didn't single-handedly win the title for the 2011 Mavs.
Facts.
Right? I mean, no one does it single-handedly.
And to Kevin Durant, bringing him up is a great example. That he felt so much pressure. You got to win a title. Your legacy isn't going to be cemented until you win a title. We had so much talk in the summer, right? Oh, we know who's going to win the title, or we know who's going to be in the final. What's the use of the season? Why can't we appreciate all the other stuff? What has happened to us that this is the Memphis example is another great example.
I mean, look.
You've talked about Memphis and whether they should stop or start or what they should do.
Memphis is awesome. Marc Gasol, my favorite player in the league, just won Player of the Week. They're great. But I don't know why we do this. I mean, we don't. When players retire, that sort of phase, right? No one sees John Stockton on the street and says, "You didn't win a title. You stink. Title or bust."
They do, though.
Nobody does that to John Stockton.
I think we embrace and respect the legacy of the greats, and Russ is on the pace of being a great player. He is right now, and his legacy is secure, and I love what he's doing, and keep up the good work.
If they don't win 50, would you still vote for him for MVP? That's kind of
I didn't say I'm voting for him now. He's in the top 3 for sure. I mean, if they win 49 versus 51, should it really affect your vote?
I'm trying to debate if I should ask you for your MVP now or wait until we get to the James Harden segment later.
You can wait until the next
because I know what's happening. Let's talk about the game Zach did go to last night. The Lakers fell to the Knicks. Their 6th straight loss. LA hasn't been above 500 since November 30th. And it's funny, the start of the season, we never would have set 500 as the standard for this young team. But they got off to such a strong start. Everyone raised their expectations, including, by the way, the Lakers themselves. Some of the players were even talking postseason week 2 into the season, which was interesting. Karan, do you think all those expectations, both external and internal, got to be a little bit too weighty for this team?
I don't think so. I think you got to have high expectations going in when you got a young nucleus and a young core. And a new coach, trying to change the energy around there, post Kobe. You want to, have some momentum going forward, and you want them to think win, win, win. But, you lose some of your key guys, and D'Angelo Russell, Nick Young, and you're trying to fill that void. So for them to lose a few games here and there, I don't think the expectation should be the same. I think they should just continue to move forward and try to win games. But, 500 at best is what I had them at.
The fact that we're on television talking about Nick Young as a key loss for the Los Angeles Lakers is the biggest story of the season. Like, they're fine. They were 10-10. They were outperforming.
He looked decent last night.
He's good. Nick Young's had a great. I don't know what Luke Walton did to Nick Young, but it worked. They were never quite as good as a 500 team. They were 27th in defense when they were 10-10. They're last now. But it doesn't even matter. It's the culture change that matters. The young guys are happy. They're playing well. They're playing together. Like, that matters.
But I'm interested in how they do in this next phase. And they're about to leave on a road trip, which obviously kind of can solidify team chemistry. They were, for the last 2 weeks, playing with all of a sudden people walking into that building across the street and saying, I could see the Lakers win tonight. And I felt like you could see it on some of the players' faces, that all of a sudden they weren't just out there having fun. They felt the pressure to do things, and maybe they wanted the ball from each other in a different way than they did before they had any other expectations. Learning to handle that when people think you can win, that's a thing, right? And I haven't seen that yet from the Lakers. I'm curious if it happens on this road trip.
Well, I hope so. And I think they got a great start. I think they start with Sacramento tonight. So that'll be a great opportunity for them to build some momentum.
Wow.
And,
he used to play for that team,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be a great opportunity. I think DeMarcus Cousins may have other things in mind, but, it'll be a great chance.
Wow.
They'll be fine. Lakers are fine. This is all gravy going forward. And they're only 3 games out of the playoffs. It's not that far.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of teams. The Phoenix Suns didn't you and Earl Watson have a conversation about how
they've lost a few games
since then? Exactly. On to the collective bargaining agreement. The two sides were hoping to reach an extension before this Thursday's opt-out deadline, but Players Association Vice President Carmelo Anthony told our Ramona Shelburne that he is, quote, skeptical of something getting done and that it would take, quote, a miracle to happen. Now, other sources have been more optimistic, but ESPN's Mark Stein reports the issue is licensing, the use of player likenesses. Zach, how concerned are you about all this?
Not super concerned. The opt-out date is December 15th, so it's coming up, but that's sort of a fake deadline, right? It's not a real deadline. They can still negotiate after that. I just have a hard time believing that a year of optimism and like almost to the finish line progress is going to be undone by what's not a tiny issue, but it's not a big issue. It's a solvable issue, and everyone is still like at least cautiously optimistic. Everyone involved in the process, so I'm not that worried.
How do players feel about it?
I'm not worried at all either, and I think the key words that need to be thrown out is fair and partnership. And I think if they go in with that objective, I think everything will be fine. The
thing, though, is that if they don't beat this Thursday deadline, it's not that it's just, they've got more time to negotiate. It changes what the negotiation is. If they do it before Thursday, then this is an extension of the current CBA, and the small issues that they've been working on, those change, but the general CBA stays intact. Once they hit Thursday, if sides opt out, which they would be expected to if we hit Thursday, then it's a whole new CBA. Then they're, quote, starting from scratch. And yes, they can work through the framework of what they've had for the last 6 months or a year, as you've said. But then players like, hey, we've been talking about marijuana use, right, recently. We've been talking about scheduling recently. All those issues that might not have been at the front of the negotiations, once you rip the whole thing up, those are a lot more points of discussion, and then you start having the cold sweats about maybe another lockout.
Doesn't worry me. I mean, they've been talking about all that stuff, front burner, back burner, whatever burner they've been on. All those issues have been brought up to some degree in the talks. Like, they've already been talking about the broader CBA, and it kind of agreed that the general structure is going to stay the same. So it doesn't really worry me.
Bargaining tactic by Melo to push everybody to make it by Thursday?
You got great business individuals in the players. Chris Paul, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade is going to have a hand in it. I think the game is at an all-time high right now, and no one want to have to stop it. No hiccups. No, don't kill it.
Latest in my favorite ongoing NBA soap opera, As the Kings Turn. Yeah, you know it, you love it, you need it. Rumors have been swirling of DeMarcus Cousins being traded sooner rather than later. However, Cousins insisted to our Mark's thigh. Dun dun dun. He is happy in Sacramento. I'm trying to do like the voice of the deep Victor. No, I'm not really pulling it off. All right. Boogie said on the trade rumors, to know you're wanted throughout the league. See, that sounds soap opera-y. I'd be worried if nobody wanted me. Then I'd have a situation on my hands. But I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with this team. I'm in a great place. I can picture him like on a pier with the wind blowing in his hair.
You're into this.
I'm not leaving. I'm happy.
I'm on a boat.
Don't take me away. Right? It's all happening. It's little days of our lives as the world. It's all in there. All right. You spent time in Sacramento with Boogie. Do you buy that he's happy on the boat with the hair on the thing?
I do. I actually reached out to him, and I asked him, how was he feeling about the rumors and everything. And he just said, my ultimate goal is to be, the best player that I possibly can be.
It's not an answer.
And I want to win games. I want to win games here.
Okay.
And I want to be I want to be a leader. So we'll see what happens.
Well, they're 8-15, and this is year 7 of being terrible in Sacramento in the DeMarcus Cousins era. So. Look, people there say he's generally, his attitude has been better this year. He's playing well. He's playing like, I don't know how many players in the league are better than that guy. But is he happy? You have to ask him. But I have a hard time believing a guy who wants to win that badly is like, yeah, this is where I want to be. This is the team I want to be in. We're 8-15 again.
I buy that Sacramento wants to keep him because they need to draw people to that building, which is why they've kept
new
him
building.
all these years. Yeah. New building that you are trying to fill that's very expensive.
Definitely.
I'm not sure I buy that he's happy. I do buy that we are going to hear that soap opera music yet again later this season because it's always a soap opera in Sacramento. All right, it is time for, you heard that, make or miss. And our first one is make ambition. Look where Jonathan Simmons is when Patty Mills throws this pass. What was more impressive, Zach, the pass or the finish?
I got to go with the pass. That's to throw it then that early and see it that early. That's impressive.
All right,
that's something they worked on over and over in practice. Oh. That's just the feel of the game. Young fella, go get it.
Gotta like how well Simmons fits in there. All right, miss rationality. I've heard of protests, but guys, this guy handcuffed himself to the Smoothie King Center to protest Alvin Gentry as coach while the Pelicans were on the road. So they could have just left him there. I mean, if you're gonna handcuff yourself, do it when they're home.
The reason I'm laughing because I know the Pelicans have Twitter and Instagram. I mean, you gotta know where they're at.
Protest something real. Protest a real thing.
There's nothing real in the world to protest right now, Zach. Woo. Make social media. Come on, does Richard Jefferson get an A for access here? He's got the Snapchat glasses. He's giving you like his full perspective on shooting on the court.
I think he's on to something here, and I would love to see LeBron James and Chris Paul give fans the vision insight with these goggles.
Zach, you're next on this.
Can I go an hour with you without Snapchat coming up one time?
No, you cannot.
She's the ambassador.
No, you cannot. Miss ankles, 2 broken ankles, 20 points, 20 assists, and 0 turnovers. Zach, best stat line of the season for CP3?
No. Anthony Davis had 50 points, 15 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 4 steals. Come on.
What?
That LASIK surgery Chris Paul had over the summer paying off. He looked good. Especially since he had some turnovers in previous games. Clean that up. Make flash, Karan. You like the extra mustard here. Brandon Jennings puts on this pass last night.
I love it, young fella. I love it, man. I'm so happy to see him healthy and having fun.
Right? 14 miles from his hometown. He knew what he was doing for the hometown crowd. Make legacy. Tim Duncan spotted working out with Pau Gasol this morning at Spurs practice. Do you like this, that he's mixing it up still, or is he showing up Pau Gasol?
I feel like Tim Duncan's been doing this in like 30 years. Right. Tim Duncan on the block in San Antonio, coming from his auto body shop. It's Timmy.
Did you see the tattoo he got over the weekend?
I saw it on the back. I like it, Tim.
You like that?
Yeah,
There's a lot going on there. Like the machinery inside of Tim Duncan, it wasn't bad. Karan, thank you for being with us. Zach will be back tomorrow. We'll look at Zach's tattoo tomorrow.